The house had been quiet for many years before the new family arrived. It was the kind of silence that only old places know, a deep, lingering hush that hung in the air like dust. I had grown accustomed to that silence, to the slow passage of time, waiting and watching. My name was Grace, though now I'm only a shadow, a flicker in the corner of a room. My purpose has changed since I passed, but one thing remains. I am a guardian, bound to this house by a promise I made long ago. I was the first to notice her. A little girl, no more than 6 years old, with dark hair that framed a face full of curiosity and wonder. Her name was Emily, and she brought a light to this house that had been absent for so long. But with her arrival, I felt a familiar chill, a dark presence that had lain dormant, waiting for the right moment to strike. The evil that resides here is ancient, older than my time, and it feeds on fear. It is a twisted shadow, a malevolent force that once claimed a life in these walls, a life I could not save. It haunts the attic, a place where the light never fully reaches, and where whispers crawl from the darkness to ensnare the unwary. I know this entity well. I have battled it before and I have lost, but not again, not this time. Emily was drawn to the attic almost immediately. Children are curious, after all, and she was no different. I watched as she climbed the creaking stairs, her small hand trailing along the wooden banister, her steps light and eager. The door to the attic was ajar, and I could feel the darkness seeping through the crack like a poisonous mist. I knew I had to act quickly. I moved through the walls, a breath of cold air guiding her steps away from that door. At first she hesitated, feeling the sudden drop in temperature, the prickling of goosebumps on her arms. She turned back, her instincts telling her to leave. But the darkness whispered her name, calling her closer, promising secrets only a child would want to uncover. I couldn't let her go up there alone. With all my remaining strength, I slammed the attic door shut, the sound echoing through the empty halls. Emily jumped, startled, and took a step back. For a moment, the darkness recoiled, retreating to the shadows from which it came. But I knew it was not defeated, only biding its time, waiting for another chance. That night, as the house slept, I kept watch over Emily. The darkness was restless, seething with anger at my interference. I felt it moving through the walls, seeking her out, trying to find a way past me. It whispered lies in the dark, trying to lure her from her bed, but I stayed close, warding it off with the strength of my will, my promise. As the moonlight streamed through the window, I saw the door to her room creak open slowly, the shadows lengthening as the darkness crept closer. I could feel its hatred, its hunger, and I knew it would not stop until it had her. It was stronger than before, fed by years of anger and resentment, but I was stronger too, driven by the memory of the child I could not save. Emily stirred in her sleep, sensing the tension in the air. I moved to her side, placing a protective hand over her, though she could not feel it. The darkness recoiled at my touch, hissing with rage, but it was relentless. It lunged at her, a black shape with grasping hands, and I threw myself in its path. The impact was a jolt of freezing pain, but I held firm, pushing it back, forcing it to retreat. The darkness fought against me, but I channeled every ounce of my being into shielding her, remembering the child I lost and vowing that this time I would not fail. Finally, with a final, desperate surge, I forced it out of the room and sealed the door with the strength of my will. The night passed slowly, the darkness circling like a predator, but it could not breach my defenses. By dawn, the first rays of sunlight broke through the windows, and the evil spirit slunk back to its lair in the attic, defeated for now. Emily slept peacefully, unaware of the battle that had been fought to keep her safe. I know the darkness will return, it always does, but I will be here, watching and waiting, ready to protect her with everything I have left. For as long as I remain in this house, Emily will be safe. The darkness may be powerful, but it will never be stronger than the love that binds me to this place. I am her guardian, and I will never let it take her. Days passed, and the house resumed its rhythm of creaks and whispers. Emily's laughter filled the rooms, and the sun poured through the windows, chasing away the shadows. But beneath the surface, I could feel the darkness gathering strength, biding its time. The evil in the attic was not defeated, only momentarily repelled. I knew it would strike again, and this time it would not stop until it had her. The nights grew colder, the air thick with an oppressive weight. Emily began to have nightmares, her small body tossing and turning in bed as the darkness crept into her dreams. I did what I could to soothe her, to ward off the creeping tendrils of fear that threatened to take hold, but the darkness was persistent. Each night it grew bolder, its whispers more insistent, more seductive. It was wearing her down, breaking her spirit little by little. Then, one night, the attack came. It was late, the house wrapped in a thick silence that only deep winter nights can bring. I was by Emily's side, as always, watching over her as she slept. Suddenly, the temperature plummeted. The warmth of the room sucked away in an instant. I felt the darkness surge from the attic, a powerful wave of malevolence that slammed into me with an icy force. It had been waiting, gathering its strength, and now it unleashed all of its fury. The door to Emily's room flew open, and the darkness flooded in, a living, seething mass of shadow that enveloped the bed. Emily woke with a scream, her eyes wide with terror as the blackness closed in around her. I threw myself at the darkness, trying to shield her, but it was too strong, too angry. It swatted me aside like a leaf in a storm, its focus entirely on her. I could hear it whispering in her ear, its voice like 1,000 nails scraping against glass, promising her an end to the fear, to the nightmares, if she would just let go, if she would just give in. Emily's eyes glazed over, her small body going limp as the darkness wrapped around her, pulling her down, deeper into the abyss. I couldn't let this happen. Not again. I had failed before, but I would not fail now. I summoned every ounce of strength I had left, every fragment of the love and warmth that had once filled this house, and I hurled it at the darkness. I filled the room with light, with the memories of better days, of laughter and love, of life. The darkness recoiled, shrieking in pain as the light pierced through it. I pushed harder, driving it back, filling every corner of the room with the light of the life I once lived. But the darkness was resilient, its anger only growing as I fought against it. I could feel it lashing out, trying to drown the light in its endless void, but I held firm, refusing to let go. In the midst of this struggle, I felt something shift. Emily, caught in the grip of the darkness, stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, and for the first time she saw me, not as a flicker of movement in the corner of her vision, but as I truly was. Our eyes met, and in that moment, I poured all of my strength into her, giving her the courage she needed to fight back. "Don't be afraid," I whispered to her. "You're stronger than it is. You can beat it." Emily's small hand reached out, and with a strength that belied her years, she pushed back against the darkness. The light in the room grew brighter, more intense, until it was blinding. The darkness howled, thrashing wildly as it was torn apart, piece by piece, disintegrating in the face of our combined strength. And then, with a final, deafening scream, it was gone. The room was silent once more, the air warm and still. Emily collapsed onto the bed, exhausted but safe. I knelt beside her, feeling my own strength fading. The battle had taken everything I had, but it was worth it. She was safe. As I watched her drift off to sleep, I felt a gentle pull, like a soft breeze tugging at the edges of my being. My time here was coming to an end. The darkness was gone, banished from this house, and with it, my purpose was fulfilled. I had saved her. I leaned down and whispered into her ear one last time, "Be brave, Emily. You'll never be alone." With that, I let go, the light enveloping me as I faded from this world. I could feel the warmth of the sun on my face, the sound of laughter in my ears as I finally found peace. The house, now quiet and calm, was filled with the promise of a new beginning, a place where Emily could grow up safe and happy, unburdened by the darkness that once lurked in the shadows. And as I passed beyond the veil, I knew that she would be all right.